The story introduces us to Kang Ji, a kind-hearted person who intervenes when he sees his friend being bullied and extorted by a group of bullies. He offers them $100 to spare his friend's possession. Later, his friend asks him why he always acts like an angel, and Kang Ji reveals that there's a reason why he does it. The next day, Kang Ji arrives at school and greets everyone. We are introduced to Soo Jin, who is on trash duty with Jayan and encounters the bully, Shin. It turns out that Soo Jin has a crush on the bully, and they begin flirting while Jayan watches from a distance back at school. However, when Jayan asks if she's dating the bully, Soo Jin confirms it, breaking his heart. In a flashback, Soo Jin mentions that she will not marry someone who is abusive like her father, and emphasizes that the type of person she will marry is kind. Meanwhile, Kang Ji discovers that Soo Jin likes bad boys, so he tries to impress her by claiming that he can be meaner. However, she doesn't believe him because he always acts like an angel. Later, the bully invites Soo Jin to go karaoke with him, but he also inquires about Kang Ji's feelings for her. Soo Jin simply states that they are childhood friends before walking away with the bully. This makes Jayan realize that his last 10 years of working hard to be a nice guy were for nothing, and he vows to work hard to become mean. At the entrance to his home, Jayan is greeted by 50 uncles, proving that he wasn't lying about being the son of a gangster. He begs his uncle to assist him in becoming a bad guy, and they start by giving him a new haircut and outfit. Jayan believes there is no longer any reason to be a nice guy, and he appears to be a completely different person. The next day at school, no one recognizes him, and he enters the classroom ignoring everyone's greetings. Soo Jin invites him to the cafeteria, and he agrees, but then changes his mind and leaves her to go alone. He walks out of school, skipping class for the first time in his life, and notices the bully, Shin, walking to get some food. And they end up walking to his house where Soo Jin refuses to enter and slaps him across the face as he tries to. Jayan is watching everything from a distance and picks up a rock to throw at the bully, but it hits Soo Jin instead. He then throws another rock, finally hitting the bully, and runs away, grabbing Lee Ji's arm. As they run away together, they come to a halt in a park where Yoon gets her some bandages. Jayan introduces himself to Lee Ji, who is surprised to learn that it is Jayan from his class who is calling him annoying. The bully then calls her, and she lies about who she fled with, claiming she has no idea. As the bully walks back, he notices something on the floor while the two other students return to school. Some of Kang Ji's friends are perplexed as to why he looks like that, claiming that he looks like that dumb bully who excites him, leaving them stunned. Jayan claims he is still determined to become a bad guy. Suddenly, Lee Ji joins them at the cafeteria, and the friends begin questioning Jayan, whether he assisted her, causing him to walk away in embarrassment. Soo Jin follows him, and Jayan begins to wonder if he will be punished for all of this. As she follows him, Jayan begins to worry about potential punishment for his recent actions. He takes off his gangster guard but notices that one of his uncle's rings is missing. Frantic, he searches for it when suddenly the bully kicks him in the back. When a girl nearby questions the bully's behavior, he demands to know who she ran away with. In a desperate attempt to avoid being hit, she names another student in the class, the impressive Song Jan-seok, known for his godly appearance. Despite his fear, the bully approaches Jan-seok and asks him to intervene. After kicking his desk, which startles the entire class, the bully grabs him by his shirt. However, Jayan retaliates by grabbing the bully, squeezing his arms until he retreats. While the bully is staring at Jayan's face, Jayan notices that he is wearing the ring that his uncle gave him. Lee Ji then escorts Sun to the nurse's office while Soo Jin remains motionless. Despite insisting that he is fine, Jayan ends up walking home alone. Upon arrival, all of his uncles notice that he has been attacked and become agitated. Nim instructs them to calm down, and they hold a strategy meeting to determine if the assailant is skilled in combat and whether or not Jayan hit first. To their disappointment, Jayan did not strike first. Later, Jayan sees Soo Jin hanging out with the bully again, which angers him as he still thinks about the lost ring and how to retrieve it. As he walks to school, he spots one of his friends with Lee Ji, who proceeds to put lipstick on Jayan's face before attempting to extort money from the friend. One of Jayan's uncles secretly follows Lee Ji and is pleased to see him exploiting others for money. Jayan manages to get $40 from his friend but splits the money with Lee Ji, who takes $10 and ignores the victim's plea for his share. Meanwhile, the balded uncle continues to watch and approve of Jayan's actions. On his way back from school, Jayan confronts the bully who is wearing the stolen ring, which infuriates the balded uncle. Despite his anger, the uncle refrains from retaliating at school. Jayan's behavior at school has caught the attention of the head teacher, who wants to talk to him about it. Jayan panics and asks if his uncle can come instead. The top uncles want to come along but can't decide who should go, so they play rock, paper, scissors, and the bald bundle wins. The next day, the bald uncle dresses Jayan up like a gangster and teaches him how to walk coolly and spit out his mouth. When they arrive at school, everyone is curious about who he is. During the meeting, the head teacher mentions that Ung is a problematic child, which irritates the bald uncle. He informs the teacher about the student who is harassing others at school, but the head teacher denies any such thing is happening. The bald uncle stands up and walks out of the meeting, asking the head teacher to look after Ung. As he leaves, the head teacher realizes he will never have to deal with Ji Young's relatives again. The bald uncle tries to find the bully who took Jayan's ring, but he knows he cannot involve himself with his young master's fights, so he heads back home. Meanwhile, the bully admires the ring and considers selling it as it looks expensive. One of the bully's friends offers to help him sell the ring, while the head teacher arrives to begin teaching the class. Jayan can't stop thinking about his conversation with his uncle. Soon after, Ji-young requests to be excused from class and the teacher allows it. Back at home, the uncles are planning a surprise party for the young master due to his recent behavior. Feeling anxious, Ung calls his uncles to ask about the conversation, but one uncle assures him not to worry and that he is taking care of it. Later, another uncle tells him that he must carry out their plan to beat up someone weaker than him that day in order to prove himself. While walking down the corridor, Jayan searches for someone weaker than him to fulfill his uncle's plan of beating up someone. However, he fails to find anyone until he enters the bathroom and spots Sangu, whom he had previously taken $40 from. Jayan smiles, thinking he has finally found someone weaker than him, and proceeds to grab Sangu, apologizing before punching him. Sangu attempts to seek help from Song Jan-sil, who stands there and walks away, leaving Sangu alone. Realizing he can't do it, Jayan lets go of Sangu, who starts to run away. Jayan begins to question if he can ever be a mean person again. Later, Sung-go informs the entire class about the incident, and Soo-jin requests to have a private conversation with Jayan. However, he refuses and accuses her of changing as well. The scene opens with Ung walking through the school hallway when the bully and his friends appear. Without warning, the bully punches Ung in the face and his friends join in to beat him up. Soo-jin, a classmate, tries to intervene but is also hit by the bully. Just as the bully was about to slap Soo-jin, Ung intervenes and asks him to stop. But the bully doesn't listen and continues to beat him up. Suddenly, Ung erupts in anger and declares that the bully will die at his hands. In the background, John Seok watches as the scene unfolds. Just as the bully was about to kick Ung, John Kuk punches him, and John Seok continues to hit him until he falls to the ground, defeated. The scene ends with Ung standing victorious and the bully lying on the floor.